Victory, and they are moving out of round number one, taking out the Portland Trailblazers, a brand new addition of the association. We got a post-game show. As soon as we hear from the head coaches and some of the star players, we will bring you those interviews and those press conferences here on NBA TV. Mike Yam, Rudy Gay, Chris Haynes with you. It's been a minute for the San Antonio Spurs. First playoff series win since 2017. You used to rock that uniform. Give me the significance of what this is like for the franchise.
I mean, it's back. It's back to the old ways, the ways of Pop and R.C. Buford, the guys that were kind of the, people, the cornerstone of this franchise. So, it feels good to see them back where they used to be.
Chris, what about for you?
Well, Mike, I hear you, but I can't see you because Rudy's head is in the way. But I'll answer your question anyways.
He wouldn't know that unless you said it.
Yeah, I'll answer the question anyways.
You hear him, can't you?
I hear him, but it's good to make eye contact every once in a while. But when you look at what Wembanyama and what the San Antonio Spurs are doing, they are progressing in their trajectory. They are actually skipping steps in their trajectory. Thank you, Rudy. Yeah. I see you. They are actually skipping steps in their trajectory to becoming a championship contending team. They believe that they can do it now when most people say that it takes a few years to go through the bumps and rigors, the ups and downs. They said, forget that. We want to go through it now. We want to go all the way, and we feel like we can go all the way right now.
And you've covered a whole lot of teams, including this Blazers squad, by the way. What's it like? Because you're talking about this evolution and being ahead of schedule. And I think every NBA fan that's seen San Antonio play this season understands exactly what you're describing, Chris. But when you see it firsthand in the postseason, what does this do as they await the winner of Denver and Minnesota?
Well, listen, they took care of business. I mean, you could listen. They probably would have swept the Portland Trailblazers had it not been for the Wembanyama. But right now they be able to get some rest, and a young team really doesn't need rest. This is a team that they're energetic and they're youthful. So, but it's only going to benefit this squad. But listen, man, what they've doing the first playoff playoff advancing win since 2017. I think it just speaks to where this team is headed. It speaks to what this team is now. Yeah. And I think it's going to speak to the future because I think this team is going to be here for years and years to come.
Rudy, it's kind of crazy because Chris is talking about being ahead of schedule, and maybe they would have swept Portland, who, by the way, I think deserves a little bit of credit too in this series because even in some of these games, and I know this game was sort of dominant, like you can see there's like a drive in the squad to not give up. But Wemby, 17 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 blocks. One of those blocks was as emphatic a block that you're going to see in any NBA game. He looks like he's ready to try to dominate this postseason.
Well, I mean, this is what you play for. Yeah. And he's been the ultimate competitor this year. He wants it, you can tell. And like I said before, this is what you play for, and this is what you get ready for the whole season for. So, it's fun to watch. It's fun to see him lead this team. But like you said, Portland is a team that no one thought would be here. Yeah. So, I will. My hat's off to them. They've had a special season, and they get Dame back next year. So, who knows where they'll be next?
Something to build off of for sure.
Yeah. We're talking about, once again, this young squad. I know Cuz is, the sixth man of the year. I know you guys were texting here. I think there's almost an advantage from like a youth movement standpoint of like not really caring, and maybe even not even knowing what's supposed to happen. They're just going out here. Have you seen enough? We'll combine regular season and a short series, right? It's one playoff series to think that this team has the makings of getting to an NBA championship and winning it.
I mean, the days of slowing the game down and doing those things. I mean, there's still times where it will be like that, but I think now today's game is patterned after the younger play and being able to play up and down, being able to get to the basket. And also having Wemby being able to protect the rim. So I think they're a perfect team to compete for a championship. So I wouldn't worry about it as much as their how old they are, or how much what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, experience, baby.
There you go. Experience they have. I think it's more about their drive and their will, and they have that. So I think that's more of what it is.
Yeah, couldn't help it.
Sorry, it's late, man.
I understand, brother.
Yeah. It's a team here. He filled
Thanks, man. I feel like That was teamwork.
That was.
If I didn't think it was a team, now I know it's a team.
By the way, speaking of the young team, couldn't help but notice De'Aaron Fox leading the way. We'll talk about Fox and show you exactly how it all played down. But yeah, it was that veteran who actually led the San Antonio Spurs in scoring. It's bonkers what that dude has been able to accomplish. De'Aaron Fox, I made reference to him before, leading a balanced attack here. 6 players in double figures for the Spurs, including 5 of them scoring at least 15 points. The Blazers struggled from the floor, 35% from the field, just 23% from 3. After the game, got an opportunity perspective. Biggest takeaway from the series. Actually, we'll tell something. I'll table that for a second. Keldon Johnson, by the way, just heading to the podium. So, Mitch Johnson, the other Johnson, now addressing the media. We'll get you back to San Antonio for this one.
If you just take that on face value, that's a job well done. And then, I think we had a few games where the second chance points hurt us. We had a few games where the points off our turnovers hurt us. And so when you actually put that into the equation, that means the half-court defense was maybe even a little better than some of those numbers would say. And so a lot of room for improvement and some things to take away that we've done a good job on that we continue to be better at.
You talked about getting off to a good start, had Julian come out of the chute with 11 points, also hitting the boards really well. What did you see from him early on?
It was as sharp as we've been in terms of 5 guys on the court with just game plan execution and then putting really, really solid fundamentals on top of it. And then again, as we've talked about all year, we got talented guys. So when you put game plan execution and fundamentals on top of it, they're going to make some wild plays. But when you go back and look at the passing, the boxing out, the spacing, the running, it was high level.
What did you think of De'Aaron Fox's performance? I know after Game 4 you said that it might have been his best game as a Spur.
He's done this in his career. He was the clutch player of the year for a reason. He's in a different situation now in terms of, at times, having the basketball in his hands at that volume every single night in the fourth quarter. And he may be as good as any player I've ever seen in terms of balancing how to play off it and then when to go on it. And when he gets on it, he doesn't mess around and he gets right to it. And when we help him with our organization and our spacing and to give him space to operate, will be even that much better. But he took over the game clearly again tonight.
Coach, obviously the Blazers made a run there in the second half. How valuable an experience is that for you and your guys to, face off against a team that's, fighting with their last breath for their survival like that?
Yeah, it felt like we weren't sharp for a stretch there. And there's as competitive group as that I've seen in this league. Tiago's done a hell of a job. I mean, those guys play so hard for him and how competitive and physical. And I would expect nothing less. And it did feel like we let our foot off the gas. The NBA games are long, so that's not an excuse. That means we got to be better. But, 0 lead changes is 0 lead changes. So, you can talk out of both sides of your mouth, but that's pretty damn impressive too. But obviously there was a stretch there where we needed to be sharper and got to continue to play games like they're 0-0 every single possession.
Mitch, before the game, you talked about this being the first closeout game for this team and first series win for this team as a head coach. So what have you kind of grown over these last series with your first experience in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think all the things that are discussed regarding the playoffs are real, obviously. The physicality, the competitiveness, every single possession is survival. And I think when you play a team, every single day that you play a game, it comes a lot less of cute strategy. And I think there's a lot of ways that I can continue to help these guys more than I did these 5 games, but it was a whole lot of fun and they did a great job. And I was just really pleased with their competitive response again against a team that I think has been as competitive and as physical as we've seen all year. And not just during the playoffs, that was during the regular season as well.
Carolina Teague was perfect. Coach, first of all, congratulations on moving on to the next round. What did this group prove to you about themselves over the course of the series?
I think the thing that they've proved is what they've proved all year. We have a lot of room to improve. We have a lot of things that we can be better at. But we're ready to step in. We're ready to step up to the plate and swing. And that's a fun thing to be a part of.
Yeah, Coach, these guys were talking about, in the week leading up to this series, there's going to be more media, more eyes, more attention and pressure and everything that goes with that. How have you seen this group, and just what did you make of the way that they've been able to stay true to what you guys have preached all year, not let that kind of creep in? And specifically regarding the lack of experience, how have you seen them kind of deny that narrative and just play the game of basketball y'all are used to?
Yeah, again, I think we've done a good job of that all year. I think there's a lot of external that's been added and will continue to be added, but if anything, I think our excitement and enthusiasm for the moment at times is what we have to continue to balance and remove the emotion from. But I'm not worried about media or lights or national TV or whatever that stuff is. I think it's fun and exciting, and a lot of people will talk about it, but I think our group is comfortable in that. Not saying that we'll be perfect, but I'm more worried about transition defense and continued spacing and setting good screens.
Coach, you've gotten this all year long offensively.
Yeah. Proud of them the whole year. Start to remember the whole season and what we went through, and just, again, we compete every night for the most part, and that's what we are proud of.
I figure you've been a part of some pretty big elimination games in this building. I was just curious what it felt like to be on the other end tonight.
Yeah, not great, of course. But again, this is a great basketball team. They have a superstar that changed the game. They deserve it. They play better. And that's it. Now, always bad to lose a game, but again, I said this at the beginning of the season. I went through great moments here in this building, and that's never gonna borrow from my memories. So I wish them good luck.
Roy Flores, Capital Sports Audio. Coach, just talk about the two times y'all were able to cut it to single digits there in the second half. What is that? Just take us through that and what that said about your players.
Yeah, I think the Spurs started the game really like making every shot. We were contesting shots they were making, and we were shooting open shots and missing. They opened whatever 30 points they had in front of us. We fought there. I think we were down 9 with 8 minutes left, so a lot of game to play. Again, not easy. You put that effort, you got to finish. You got to be not happy, but think about how this team fight, and they fought again to the end, to the last minute, and that's what I take from it.
Thiago, with so much discussion about Vic going into the series, now after playing him 5 games, how would you describe the challenge that he poses defensively and the difference it made in the series?
It's extremely difficult. You gotta do a lot of tricks and try to, set back screens and seals and Spain actions, and not easy, because he can contest the 3 and the rim at the same time, basically. He's gonna create a lot of problems for a lot of teams for a long time. It's not easy. So we try, couldn't do it, and kudos to them. And
Thiago, you don't know what the future holds, obviously. How much harder does it make it to go through this with this team, not knowing if you're going to be back in that locker room, and how does that kind of affect you emotionally?
It's been the whole season like that, to be honest. It's not like now it's any different. So it's just, I'm happy where we got. I'm happy with the effort, but the future, who knows? I gotta sit down now with my family, of course, with the Blazers, and see what's going on.
Thiago, only 6 minutes for Shaedon tonight. What is it about this matchup that made you not go to him as much as you had been?
It's tough because can only play 5 players at the same time. I thought CD came and brought us energy on both ends, and that's it. I'm going to focus on the positive. I think CD brought energy and helped us there in the second half.
Steph, just a closeout game? You know, you guys coming out and doing what you had to do to get it done. Just overall thoughts on, a game in which you got out big and then held them off there toward the end.
Yeah, I thought it's probably our most professional game of the series. I feel like we punched them in the chest first in a game that mattered, especially when they're on the ropes. We're up 3-1. They're on the road, so just trying to send that message to start the game. And the way we closed the game, they went on the run, but I feel like we weathered the storm and, figured it out.
Mary Rominger, KSAT 12. Steph, what was your reaction to Devin Vassell meeting Donovan Clingan at the rim? And what does that do for you guys as a team, confidence-wise, to see everyone step up in those moments?
Yeah, it was a big-time play. I don't know what I was thinking at the time, but, I definitely went up to him and told him how big of a play it was. I feel like we scored right after that, too, so... Dev's always making, big-time plays like that, just being in the right spots on the defensive end.
Steph, you just said punch in the chest. Usually people say, like, punch in the face or punch in the mouth. It kind of sounds like almost a metaphor for how the series went, where it was so much physicality of you guys, like, pushing each other around. You and Denny, like, obviously went face-to-face a few times. How do you feel like the challenge of that physicality brought, like, the best out of you?
I wouldn't just say me. I feel like it brought the best out of us. Especially after game 2, being to where they won that game just being more physical than us, getting more offensive rebounds than us. I feel like it was a wake-up call that, we needed, especially this early on in the playoffs. So I feel like it brought the best out of everybody.
Steph, what is it like for you all just over the course of the year having someone like De'Aaron who down the stretch when things do get a little bit tight, that he can kind of take over a game the way he has the last couple of nights?
It's great. Just watching him play throughout the flow of the game, not really pressing or forcing anything, and then to be able to close a game out like that, like he's been hot the whole night, is, it's a talent. So having him, with us, especially in late game, close games like that, especially when things start getting tight, the other team starts going on a run. To have that, stability from a vet guard like that is just good to be a part of.
Steph, you talked about the fast start. Julian came out with 11 points, I think 5 rebounds in the first quarter. What did you see from him? How locked in was he?
Yeah, he's super locked in. I feel like all season, well, not all season, all series, they've been making an emphasis on trying to limit his touches, not let him get any good looks. So when he finally got the ones that he was deserving, he knocked them down. I feel like he was doing all the little things all series, and I feel like he deserved to start a game off like that.
You guys held him 3 times to under 100. How good was the defense?
It was great. I feel like our coaching staff, Sean, Scott, all the guys, I feel like they had us super prepared for, what that team likes to do. So, coming into every game, we weren't surprised by, any actions or anything that they were doing on offense. It was something that, we've seen before and that we've practiced.
Steph, how much have you had a chance to watch the Minnesota-Denver series? And while I'm not going to ask you who you'd rather face, do you want it to at least go 7?
It doesn't matter to me. I think I've watched every game so far, but it doesn't really matter to me. We're gonna have to see one of them eventually. So, I don't think we're needing any extra time to, wait and see which one we're going.
Thinking about what went wrong in this game. Like, are you taking a moment to process sort of the journey that got you guys here yet, or is that going to maybe happen over the next few days?
I feel like a little bit of both. When I came out with like 4 minutes left, I feel like it was like, what what could we have done better this game? And then I think the last 2 minutes, we realized it was over. It was more like, it was a good year. It's a year that we could all be proud of. We did a lot of great things. We all got better. It's a special team with a lot of special guys that, we have a great bond and a great relationship, with everyone. And, I love this team. I love this group. And, this year was one of the best years of my life.
Donovan, obviously kind of a tough series for you. What are you going to take away from it personally as far as, like, this is your first playoff experience, like this is what you got to, do going forward?
Just learn from it, get better, stay in the gym. And I feel like, I experienced a series against a very good, San Antonio team that, I could learn a lot from. And, you just got to learn from it, and just watch the film and keep getting better, stay in the gym. And, I feel like, it's definitely a learning experience, but, I'm going to try not to, take away from the season that I had. I feel like I had a lot of good moments throughout the season, and, I know I didn't play at my best and didn't do, what I did all year through this series, but, like I said, it's definitely a learning experience.
Kind of in a similar vein, when you've played in the postseason in the past, you've had a lot of success, obviously at a different one.
Throughout the series, Portland, has made an emphasis of taking you guys off the three-point line. What did you find early in this game where those shots were there?
Just start moving a little more. I think the first couple games, me specifically, I did a poor job of moving without the basketball. So just finding my little spots. The margin was like this thick, so yeah.
Julian, you've talked throughout the season about your journey to get to where you are and the role you're playing on this team. When you have the kind of start you had tonight in a closeout game, and then you hit the 5 of the 7 threes, I just imagine this is just one of those nights that you kind of think about as you're going through that journey and things along those lines.
Yeah, it feels good. It makes it all worth it. It makes it all worth it.
Julian, you guys came out ton of energy in that first quarter. Obviously, that was an emphasis going in about starting fast for you guys, but you could even tell by the way you guys were feeding off the crowd. I mean, you and Kamara were having some fun, going back down court after you made a couple in his grill there. But the way that you guys came out with that energy, was that something that was calculated from you guys in that first quarter, feeding off the crowd?
Yeah, we didn't want to go back to Portland. That was kind of the emphasis for the guys in the team. We just didn't want to fly back to Portland. It was a 4-hour flight. So being up 3-1 and playing at home, it's a good chance to close it out and not go back. So that was all of the motivation we needed tonight.
Yeah, Julian, you guys were talking a lot, I guess, the week leading up to the series about how you knew there was going to be more pressure, more eyes on you. Is it something that you guys have found relatively easy, just to kind of stick close to each other and keep playing the basketball you've played all year? Is there any challenge to that?
Pressure's fun. I think that as a unit, we've all gone through pressure in our own ways on our own growing up. So being at this stage and having all you guys here and having all the fans, all the cameras and stuff, it's pressure, but I think we find it more fun, more than like nerve-wracking. Obviously, we have a good group, and we all really like each other. So it makes it that much more like easier to go out there and just play. So no pressure. Just fun.
Julian, you guys everybody's scoring through 3 quarters. Things are kind of rolling smoothly, but then they slow down and it's time to give it to De'Aaron. What is it like for y'all's psyche and mentality that you have a guy like that who can step in and score when it matters?
Yeah, De'Aaron is nice. I don't know. I don't really know what anybody else says, but De'Aaron's nice. Obviously, I've been in the league for a couple years now, so I've faced him a couple times. Like, I've been on the opposite side of that, and it's not fun to have to guard him. So when he has the ball, like, we trust him. We want him to be that guy for us, that closer for us, and he happens to be like really good at it. So for us, it's kind of just space, give him the space he needs, and be there when he needs to be there. But for the most part, it's his world, and we kind of live in it.
Julian, you spoke about, well, a lot of people spoke about how there's no playoff experience with this team. And speaking about the pressure, losing game 2, losing Wemby, going down by 17 at half last game. How much did that pressure throughout this series help out a team instead of just maybe sweeping a team and going through its trials and tribulations for this first series?
I think it helped us. Obviously, with it going down, it made us realize that we have to make up for what we're gonna miss for the next game or 2. We know how long we're gonna be out for. So, obviously, having that there and like having to really pick up, I think it helped us a lot. Honestly, I think it gave us the spark that we needed to fight through it. And obviously, the game he went down, we ended up losing that game, and then the next game he didn't play, and we were down a bunch, come back and win. So, it's all a part of it, but it definitely gave us a good kick.
Julian.
All right, so it is the San Antonio Spurs that are moving on to round number 2. They'll take on the winner of Denver and Minnesota. That series, I don't think anyone sort of expected it to play out the way that it is playing out. Everything from the injuries to the fact that Minnesota right now is up 3-2 and was actually leading 3-1. I want to talk about the Portland Trailblazers in just a moment here, but I think there's one thing that's abundantly clear, especially when you look at the Eastern Conference, the way Orlando and Detroit is shaping up. Styles make fights in the postseason. Yeah. Stylistically, what the Spurs bring to the table, we saw what the head-to-heads were like against Denver, and once again, they're down in their series. But as if you're a member of that team and you're looking ahead, what's the matchup that you want?
I'll go.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm going with the matchup that has a couple of key injuries on the roster.
Yeah.
Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that Anthony Edwards is out, they're considering him week to week. Dante is out for the remainder of the season. So I think you have to hope for the path of least resistance, and I think that's the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously the plan is to win a championship, and Minnesota, they're fighting hard without their leader and Ant, and also without Dante. But if I'm the Spurs, I want to play them. But I don't think they fear either one, to be honest with you.
Denver obviously had done well in some of those heads against San Antonio. Just for clarity purposes, do you guys both feel like Minnesota's winning that series, or do you think Denver's winning a couple games here to close this thing out?
I mean, they both have injuries.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a classic Joker game. We've seen him do everything but score like we've seen him score. I don't know. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to put a pinpoint who I think will win, but it's going to be very competitive, and they do have Joker, which is is a
maybe
pretty
good equalizer.
Pretty good.
I think Joker can lead his team to 2 consecutive wins. That's all they need.
Totally. Yeah. And especially without Anthony Edwards out on the floor and Dante that you made reference to with the Achilles. All right, we got more to come here.
But then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait till the series is over. So 1 haircut per series. Just do it. Do it at the beginning, and then I won't be cutting my hair until win or lose.
Sure, yeah. De'Aaron, for you personally, man, this is your first ever playoff.
So much sugar. I don't drink Gatorade or Powerade.
Just go with like
drink, really.
the Pedialyte packets or something like that.
Yeah, I'll do that. The other stuff is it's just Kool-Aid, literally.
On another note, that's your first career playoff series win, man. For you personally, how special is that to move on in the NBA playoffs?
I mean, it's taken a while, but it definitely feels good. We felt like, we put ourselves in position to win. I mean, all 5 of these games. Even game 2 when we lost, we were up I think 14 in the fourth quarter. So we were disappointed that we lost that game, but you have to move on. It's playoffs. At times. You lose games like that, and I mean they probably felt like they let go of some games as well.
Is there any celebration for you personally having advanced in the series, or is that all business?
Nah, I'll celebrate when we win a championship. I don't do much anyway, so my celebration even for that probably won't be crazy.
You guys won the series 3-1, and all the wins were double digits, but there was some adversity for you guys in this series. What did especially the guys that haven't been to the playoffs before, what did they learn through that adversity?
I mean, that especially whenever you're playing, I mean, not just this team, but through it all, it's gonna be physical. You know, you see the same team for a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. You're gonna end up not liking each other at least a little bit. Just seeing them every other day, and calls at times aren't gonna go your way. Shots at times just aren't gonna go down, and you got to be able to find a way to win. And I think the way that we did it was defensively. That's how we won. We think they had 2 games over 100. Tonight they shot 35% from the field. We knew what they wanted to do, and we tried to stop that, and I think we did a good job at it.
Are you proud of your young guys like Steph and Dylan giving some of that physicality back, giving some of that trash talk back?
Absolutely. I mean, y'all see Julian today? Yeah, I was like, Julian, I love this energy from you today. But yeah, I mean, it was great all in all. You have to be able to hit first. And I think like game 2, game 3, they hit us first, and then we were trying to fight back. We started off on our heels and then had to try to get them on their heels. And tonight, obviously, they make a run. That's an NBA team. That's a playoff team. But us hitting first, chill out. Us hitting first put us in a great position. Obviously, they fought back, and we were able to respond.
Dan, speaking of Julian, he just said when he was in here a second ago, he said during that fourth quarter when things got tight, he said it was your world. They were all just living in it. And I'm just curious what your mindset has been in the second half in game 4 tonight, fourth quarter. What's your mindset been offensively over the last couple games?
I mean, there are times, where we go through a dry spell or, we have turnovers. Those things happen. For me, I try to not necessarily fix those things myself, but at times just know where the shot's coming from. If I have the ball in isolation, I'm probably going to shoot it, or the guy that you pass it to is going to shoot. That's just the way that isolations work. But for me, especially in this fourth, it was just continue to move. I was denied a lot this series. They were physical with me off the ball. Those things happen. Get used to it. And we put things in to try to negate that. And that fourth quarter was a lot of that, a lot of me moving without the ball. When I got the ball, pick a matchup. If they double, get off of it, things like that. And I had a good fourth quarter, and we tried to put them away.
Darren, so now that you officially have UNC status,
I do not have feelings.
All right, just hearing the thoughts of De'Aaron Fox, who actually led the way from a San Antonio perspective. Kind of a two-headed monster between both of these guys. Meanwhile, Wemby just getting to the podium right now. We'll take a listen to the San Antonio Spurs superstar.
How did you think the team approached its first closeout game, just the professionalism and the especially that start you guys had?
It was good. I mean, great start. It's never perfect, of course, but that's exactly what we said we wanted to do before the game.
From a winning standpoint, you've had so many firsts this year. Are you feeling these firsts as you're going through them? The first playoff series win. Are you kind of taking them in as they're happening, or is there you're just letting them go by because there's something bigger ahead potentially?
A little bit of both. Definitely a different feeling to winning against somebody and think that their season's over, and also playing the same team over and over again. But it's good. I mean, we're all competitors, so it's good. It's all fun.
Vic, there was an opinion out there last summer among a lot of people that was the time for the Spurs to make a big move, to get you a superstar to play with, to kind of make a big deal. Did you ever subscribe to that at all? And do you think this sort of validates the success you guys are having this postseason, validates staying the course with the whole group?
It hasn't really, all this talk hasn't really impacted my train of thoughts, because we are involved with the team and the team's future and how we're going to approach things. So I wasn't really speculating about anything or about any player. And yeah, I know Brian knows who we are and trusts the process, and he should get Executive of the Year also for not making a move.
Victor, Carolina was perfect. First of all, congratulations on advancing to the next round. What do you want Spurs fans to know as this team keeps pushing forward?
What do I want them to know? That, first of all, we're grateful for the way they show up, for how they wear their shirts at home games, and how loud they are at away games too. Because we're dominating, our fans are dominating, even on the away games.
Victor, along the lines of not letting the outside talk kind of affect how you think or what's going on internally, you know, all the talk that's been about how young you guys are, the pressure that's going to be with the playoffs, and you got to rise to the moment. You know, how is it that you handle pressure, and how have you seen, you know, this group collectively just kind of stick to itself and not subscribe to anything that's being talked about outside the doors?
I don't know how my teammates handle it, but they all seem to do a great job at it. I guess we know each other much more than anybody outside knows us, and we trust each other. But for me, it's I'm not even really trying to avoid that. It's just not a thing.
Vic, that is your first playoff series, and now that you guys have gotten over the hump, do you feel as though you've grown personally now after having one playoff series in the books?
Yeah, of course. We gain experience all the time. And that was just one example of how a series can go. And that's a good way to start the playoffs. But yeah, well, we gain experience, and I'm still hungry for even better matchups.
Expected playoffs?
Yeah.
Victor, how do you feel like the identity of the team and the identity of yourself and your game held up to this first playoff test?
Our identity? Great. We did discuss about not changing what we do, you know, just correcting little things and doing everything the same but better. And we've kept trusting the game plan. And what I like is we resorted to going back to the game plan and going back to trusting each other in moments where it was hard. So that's a statement in how much we trust each other and how much we trust the process.
Vic, in the second half there, it looked like the Blazers really didn't want to go home. What was that experience like for you and your teammates, you know, trying to put them away when they were fighting with all they had to stay alive?
It's good. It was good competition. Their physical battle is what defines them. So we know they're not going to make things easy, and we are trying to put them away as early as possible. But it's not easy. It's easier said than done. But that's a great team, you know. With great, they give great resistance. It's fun to play against them.
Yeah, when Mitch subbed everybody out, I saw all y'all have just a moment at the end of the bench. Why so much emotion after that?
Because it feels like a step past, step well done, you know. And I'm personally happy to see things are moving forward and in the right direction.
J'enchaîne en français.